Gonna do a quick little review here in a second. Day's pretty chill. Pretty chill so far. Nice little push here on ES. And we'll set up a couple trades here. I want to go over them with you guys as we get ready. So just give me 1 second. Set up a couple trades here. I want to go over them with you. All right, let's go over a couple of these that I'm looking at. Remember, I think on YouTube it's very interesting. It's got like 11-second delay, so please keep that in mind. You can always check out Trendy Trading for $5, for an entire week to see kind of what I do. Still put this out there that we are the only service that I'm aware of where we have my brokerage account linked directly to the room. So as soon as I take a trade, it's sent in milliseconds. We have different sorts of trades. Basically, I do almost everything. So that's going to be spreads. We do future trades. Future trades have a different API. So what I've done is develop what we call trendy signals, and those push out buys and sells with a stop and so forth. I also have a margin account, and those are going to come through within milliseconds as soon as I take a trade. And then I have what's called a small account, which is just a cash account, and that's also set up. I have several signals that push out buys and sells with stops, specifically on SPX as well. So SPX is always running my signals to give you a entry and stop, if you will. But let's go ahead and get started and look at a couple things that I'm paying attention to today. And so we'll go over the ES futures, and I'm going to put those alerts on silence so you don't freak out. Let's go ahead and start over here with the bigger picture. So I just took this Disney trade. We just hit our T1, guys. So if you're wanting to trim right there, this is a scalp position. This is called a PMZ trade. So Trendy Trading, we have our own proprietary scripts. Proprietary, that, it's an interesting word. I think when you say that, using math in a way is not really proprietary. But they are unique to Trendy Trading. What you see on here are what we call Trendy Edges. We developed these close to, I want to say, 6 years ago, seven, somewhere in there. And they work very well. What they do is help you define demand and supply according to ranges and structure of actual candles. Okay, and we teach all of this right here at Trendy Trading. But the cool thing is, people always wonder, like, well, why would you want scripts, right? Why do you want all these different symbols, or why do you want these lines on your chart? You'll hear people say, hey, the best way to trade is like a naked chart. The longer you've been in trading, the more that you appreciate a naked chart, right? And so in this circumstance, I'll tell you, so what I will tell you is this. It really reduces the time, right? Big time. in order for you to find these levels. Like, I don't need to go back and looking at the weekly, the monthly, the daily. All of that is right here on the screen that you're looking at. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you again is what we call a pre-market zone. Basically, the pre-market zone is taking candle formations in a certain period within the pre-market and defining down here what kind of risk I want for a quick trade. So this trade itself came straight from my Thinkorswim or TD Ameritrade account. It was sent to the room within milliseconds, and as soon as I executed it, the members get to see that at exactly what time, what price, and so forth. And we were looking at this alert to come through. That was going to be target 1. Again, this is just a scalp, okay? And I want to show you some of that. So give me 1 second here as I pull down my room. And so you can see that here on Discord, how that looks. All right. All right. So moving on down, let's pull this down right here. All right. And you can see this is called small account. This is my cash account. And again, straight from my brokerage. And so not only do we have, the exact time, but this actually says exactly how much I made on the trade in percent. And the reason why Trendy does that is because I'm a true believer that putting PL out there is just not necessarily the greatest marketing tool. I shouldn't say that. It draws people, right? But the truth of the matter is that a lot of people cannot make the same amount of money because in most cases the moderator is using a little bit bigger of positions, or they have more money in most cases. And so I just think it's not the best representation of what new people are going to get. See, whether you're have a big account or a small account, 76% is 76%. All right, so what you make is pretty much dependent upon how much you're putting into the trade. So big difference, right? So this is very transparent. Not only does it say when I enter a trade, it tells you when I trim a trade, it tells you when I'm stopped on a trade, it gives you the order description with the date and so forth, and again it tells you the PL percentage loss or gain. Nothing to hide here, so you can see right here only 10%, 70%, SPX 10%. This was a scalp as well. BA, you could see, took that. Then I lost for 69%. And today, these are the trades that I've taken so far. So Futu, I took this trade. We'll go over that here in a second. That was sent out right away. And then I took Disney, and I just want to show you a couple things here which are really neat. Is that on Disney, when I took it, it was at $1.28. These are the 105 calls. I took this trade just a few minutes ago, and it immediately puts out what I paid, and it gives you the exact time, folks. The exact time. Now, I've been in a couple rooms where this is interesting, right? They give you a time. There's one other service that gets very close to us, but not that close. They just give you a rounded time, so you really don't know when they're buying or how much they're buying and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is going to get it all the way down to the very second, which is really cool. Now, the next thing about this trade that I want to talk about is understanding how to use your risk tolerance in a trade, or how to put a stop in and walk away from this trade and have the confidence to let it do what it's going to do. So what I'm showing you is on Thinkorswim. Okay, so this is on Thinkorswim. This in the background is TradingView. I prefer the charts on TradingView. All right, so this is where our signals and the scripts are actually sold, not on Thinkorswim. Okay, let me go ahead and zoom in for you a little bit here. And you can see here, this is how I set this up. So as soon as I take the trade, I understand where I want my stop. And so I set it up on market because the spreads here are pretty tight. And you could see that I have market here. I make sure that it's a sell, and the quantity over here is how many contracts I have. The time in force is day, not good till canceled, because this specific trade that I took was going to be a day trade. All right. Down here, this is very important for me. I have a video as well on YouTube to explain all of this, but this stop itself is if this then that, basically. Okay, so you can see this is Disney. The mark has to be less than or equal to this amount in order for me to be stopped out in this trade. Now listen, before I took this trade, I did the math. You look at the delta, you understand you're only going to be in here for the day, and so I just subtract that between my risk. Okay, so if we move this over here so we can look, my risk was under here. So when I took the trade, I just did the math and I understood how much I could lose on the actual option. Okay, very straightforward. So if I accept that loss before I take the trade, guess what? It's a lot easier to take, guys. A lot easier. And I have the confidence when I put in the stop that I can walk away. And by the way, right through those doors there, my kids are in there, my grandson's in there, and I can still live my life. And that's what Trendy is all about, is like being trendy, understanding how much risk you're putting on, understanding how to put a stop in, and understanding that you cannot make the market change. Okay, so we have targets here. See, we already hit the first target. The second target's right here. You can see I have an alert. And I have a stop that's at a predefined level, which is right here. There is nothing I can do in here, folks. Nothing. So you don't have to sit in front of the screen all day. You can still do all the things that you like to do and walk away as long as you know how to set this stuff up. And it's not that hard. So what I mean by that is I always like to tell my members, okay, is that between this level and this stop is where you want to live your life. Now, it's really stormy out, unfortunately, and we have some members that flew into and traveled to this part of Florida, and I was really hoping to meet up with them, and some of them have reached out already and said, man, I just happened to come here when it's supposed to rain for the entire week. That's kind of how Florida is. So anyways, so what I want to show you though is that this is between here, between your stop and your targets, guys. Guess what that's called? For me, that's actually called let's make it blue. You know, that's more fitting. This is what we call a beach trade, okay? Because between this time, you should be enjoying your life. This could be anything. This could be when you take the kids to school. This can be when you have to run an errand, when you have to cook a meal, like anything, folks. All right? You cannot change this. You're either going to hit a target, which we already did the first one, or you're going to get stopped out. That is the worst that can happen in this entire trade. Now, I will tell you, if this was a Thursday or Friday, there is a possibility that, you know, price could go sideways and it could burn your position to zero, right? That's called theta, but that's not what this is about. All right. So here we are again, a target, the first target, and a stop. Let's go ahead and move on. Let me show you a couple other things that I'm interested in. XLF has been very strong. Let's go to a higher time frame. I'm going to work you from a monthly into a 4-hour and kind of show you how I do this. And I'll do it very quickly. And if you guys have questions, don't be afraid to ask out there on Twitter. And again, just a reminder, we have a trial for an entire 7 days, folks, for $5. Like, that's insane. That's like, with inflation, that is give you a half a cup of coffee, right? A half a cup of coffee to come here and learn and to see what I do and how I run things. Okay, so this is XLF. These are the trendy edges on a higher time frame. This is for like our swing traders, our leap traders. This is where we want to concentrate on the bigger trade. Basically, this is supply up here. This is demand, and we have a midline here where we're unable to get over at the moment. Now the market is popping, right? And there's a lot of FOMO in this market because it drains you, and then gives you 100 points to the upside and you didn't expect it, right? Right. So then you're kind of stuck in this deer in the headlights, and you need to understand how to identify that, but also instead of just staring and being a deer in the headlights, you have to figure out How do I take a trade when it doesn't feel right? And the first part of that is understanding your allocation, which is what I just shared with you. Okay, so let's get into the next part. So this is a monthly. We're underneath the edge here, and I will tell you this, even on this pop, if price cannot move over 35, then I would expect price to continue down, possibly into 32.62 and $30 to the downside. Structure wise, we have an inside and up here, which is lined up with the trendy edge. So again, we have a little bit of demand down here. Okay, let's go ahead and work over to the weekly. Okay, so this is what we have on the weekly. Notice that you can now see that edge just right above. That is resistance until proven otherwise. And there is a little bit of synergy here. I shouldn't say synergy, confluence, meaning this cloud, this EMA cloud. And these right here, which are trendy edges, this tells me that resistance is lined up here. There's a couple things I could do. If XLF pushes into this area, I could sell some call credit spreads, meaning I expect price to pull back there and I collect the premium. If I'm wrong, I can actually manage that call credit spread and then just get long the calls and get rid of the short side of the call spread. There's a lot of things I could do here as we approach this level. Now, I don't want to personally chase this right now. There's a lot of good things moving under it, right? JPM, Goldman Sachs, BAC, all of those very interesting at the moment. Okay? Just giving you some ideas. So what can we gather from the weekly? Well, we're underneath the cloud. Things look a lot better when we break above the cloud for the bulls. So this is what we call a relief bounce. That is the weekly. Let's go ahead and go over here into the daily. Now the daily is something that a lot of people, including myself, pay attention to, all right, because I don't want to miss that big move that I was just talking about. I don't want to have deer in the headlights syndrome. But it takes even a lower time frame to really get you to be confident in taking this trade. Okay, so XLF, where do we come into? Is this an actual place where I would want to buy XLF? Like when we pull back on Friday, did we come into a real demand level? Did we? So if we follow this line, I want to show you guys this. I'm going to create a level right here. Okay, actually, let's pull this all the way across. And what we want to do is follow this line all the way across to this structure. Let's go ahead and open it. Now I want you to see something that's proprietary to Trendy Trading. And that is the fact that I actually have what's called a buy signal in here. And again, this is no solicitation for you to buy just because I have a little green arrow there. But I want you to understand, according to my methodology, this is telling me that price did come into a level where I had a previous demand signal. Okay, again, so this bounce is deserved according to me. Okay, so because I checked this spot and it came into an area where it's okay for it to bounce, gives me the confidence that we will have follow through as long as this level holds. It turns into what we call a if this then that scenario. If the price of this line holds, then I'm looking for price to push up into my trendy edges. In this case, our first level is going to be the EMA, which comes in at 34.19. Sorry, 34.19, 34.46. I apologize, 34.46. And then the next level is 34.84. Now, how would have I taken that trade? Now, I already just showed you how I took Disney. I would do the same thing, but on a smaller time frame. Okay, first, allocation. Are we okay with that? Second, are we at a level that actually says I should buy this trade? Okay, everybody understanding this? The next thing is looking at a methodology. Do you actually have one? Do you have levels that actually work, folks? This is what we call a PMZ, pre-market zone. And in this case, we know here at Trendy Trading how to trade this level. We know that we want to take the trade above the PMZ. We know that the PMZ then becomes support. We did not close underneath the PMZ, and we simply moved all the way up into a trendy edge, target 1. Look up and to the left, target 2. Okay, trendy edges doing their thing. All right, everybody understand that? Looks great. This is how we get into our trades without going further into detail. Let's go ahead and move on. And I want to take a look at XLE. Let's do the same exact thing. Let's go over here to a monthly. We want to see what's going on with XLE. Now, I gave this blueprint to my members a long time ago. Wait 1 second before we do that. Let's go over to Disney. I think we're hitting T2. Give me 1 second. T1, yes, we have hit T2. So what I'm going to do, folks, just so you all know, I'm going to cancel, replace my order, and now I'm going to change that number that I gave you guys. It's no longer mark less than or equal to 103.25. I'm actually going to go to, we're at 104.92. I'm just going to bring that stop up, okay? And again, this is in no way to tell you where to put your stops or anything like that. But for me, I'm actually going to I'm going to cancel this order, and then I'm going to put in what's called a trailing stop. And give me 1 second while I do that. And if you want to know more about that, then just reach out. And there we go. All right, so my trailing stop is on there, and I should get stopped out if it falls below that level. Matter of fact, we're sitting at almost 40% on this trade, guys, so congratulations. All right, let's get back over here into XLF where we were. Give me 1 second. And let's get back to that monthly chart. All right, so the monthly, all right? And sorry, XLE, not XLF. Sorry, I got confused. All right, just got stopped out of Disney, and I want to show you guys what that looks like over here. This is, again, straight from my brokerage account. Right here, you can see I got stopped out for 33.59%. We did hit 40%. Regardless, this was a nice trade, and that is what I call an intraday scalp trade. Not bad. XLE. All right, back to where I was talking about. This is a blueprint that I gave my room several months ago, to be exact. And we are creating an inside and up. We have a buy signal on the monthly, which means since the beginning of May, this has been a buy. You can see where my support is, and this is how I like to set my traders up for trade plans. Advanced traders don't necessarily look at alerts. They watch them, doesn't mean they actually take them, but they like the blueprints, and I provide those blueprints. So the targets that have been here for quite some time are 85 and then 89.90, and I do believe that we still continue to move up into these levels, okay? So how do you get into this trade? How do you know to take this trade? Again, we're going to break it down really quick for you. And if I'm going too fast, you can always reach out to me again and just ask, okay? So right here, you can see that we're pushing up into the weekly. We are getting a buy signal. One thing I want you to take into consideration are the trendy edges. I can't make this up. These were there way in advance. We know how to trade these. And as long as price is holding above this edge, we are looking to go long into those targets. Notice that we're holding the edge and we are moving into those targets. Okay, this is what I call a double inside and up. This is a rounding bottom off of an edge. This looks really solid, guys, for XLE. So again, if you're in this, you're up $1.87 today, headed towards those next targets. Let's go into the daily. All right, the daily. Again, the edge is holding. You have a trade plan here. As long as the edge is holding, you're looking to take it into the targets. On a 4-hour, notice here, we're above the cloud, same thing, rounding bottom off of the edges. But what about the intraday? How do I go long this? Again, we have levels. That's what's awesome. When price is above a trendy edge, we look to go long. Boom, comes right into the edge. You get confidence. It breaks over the PMZ. We hold the PMZ right here. Let's make these colors a little bit different. We hold the PMZ. We get buy signals. Price then continues to move up. We come into the cloud. We are supported. Guys, I can't make this up. Again, these edges are here before price. This is where you would be getting out of the trade or at least having a good old time during the day. All right. Please understand that. This edge is resistance, this edge is support. That's how this works. Okay? Let's go ahead and move on into our next one. Let me just go over here to Twitter and make sure that we are going over everything. We went over XLE, XLF. Let me show you my Futu trade as well. I showed you where I entered earlier. And this is what this looks like. This is a little bit bigger for me. I'm more or less looking for a weekly trade. I would like to see it continue. This was the box that I gave our members today. So it's called entry on reclaim. Notice that price came down into the box and it reclaimed. Very, very nice. And this is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. So up here at 35.44, I have an alert. And then once again, if you have a stop, that needs to also be on here as well. This trade I would get bigger on if we can start to close over the 35.44, and I might even buy time. My overall trade process looks like this, or blueprint: entry on reclaim and close, trim, take profits at or around 38.39. I believe this is a Chinese name, so people have like their own little thing with Chinese names. To me, a chart is a chart. It's either going to work or it does not work. Okay. So again, that is Futu, and that's what that looks like this morning. Let's go ahead and look at SPY. I think this is really important. Anyone out there following me on my neutral strategy, this is really going to hit home with you because you're going to understand this. You take the trade when it breaks the neutral 392.15. You hit T1, 395.88, 395.88, then becomes support. We're now looking at prices to move into 389.79. But notice if we zoom in here, what happened. This is the 44 is what I'm using there, the 44 EMA, I believe, and price cannot get over that. We get over that, things really start to look good for the bulls, and you could see anywhere from a 2 to 6 day rally. I know, we usually only rally about a day nowadays, but things could be different. Here is the Qs. I'm in a butterfly for this. I'm just going to leave it there and see if it settles for the day. It's a 0 DTE. But the same thing, guys. I try to make the neutral strategy as about as easy as I can make it, meaning go long over the green into the target. As you can see, you go long over the green. This is the target. They both worked. Go long over the green into the target. They work. Okay. That is SPY and the QQQ, and this is what it looks like. When resistance is broken, we want to look for some sort of support over that 395.88. I would say at least no less than an hour over 395.88. And the same thing here, 293.10. Notice how it worked very well, by the way. And then we pull back. Every line to the upside at Trendy is resistance until proven otherwise. Okay? All right, that was a nice trade on Disney, by the way. So that is the Q SPY, and let's go ahead and take a look at ES futures. That's my baby. That is my baby. All right. So I like all sorts of different methodologies. I wouldn't say that I understand all of them. I understand most of them. I see a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into volume profile, and what we found here at Trendy is that if we study volume profile and other people's levels, really good traders basically come in at or around the same levels. Okay. What I notice is that some people are highly convicted with certain methodologies compared to other ones. But at the end of the day, the levels are around the same areas as long as you have a good technique, okay, and you can follow TA. I want to show you something. So this is the ES futures. These are levels that I gave out to the room. I don't look at volume profile. For me, volume equals A plus B. Or sorry, A plus B equals volume, meaning you need buyers and sellers to get volume. But see, institutions are the ones that create that. So what happens is once you then identify volume, then you have retail come in. Now, I want to show you this and kind of show you just by using some pretty straightforward stuff and some Fibonacci, you can spend less time trying to figure out what the market's going to do. What I can tell you is this, is from the rally on Friday to here, things have worked out very well. This is a level that I gave my room almost 2 weeks ago. If not, probably months ago actually. This is the 0.382 level of the entire rally of 2020, and we expect that to work. Price came down into that to the tick. It pushed up. You have this huge rally, and today you have continuation through. But you have continuation into the target that I gave in advance, and you can see that it is now resistance. Let's go ahead and go over that on a higher time frame. All you're simply doing here is the daily hit the EMA cloud. The EMA cloud that is here at Trendy Trading. Notice how beautiful that cloud is. Notice how it's resistance until proven otherwise. Matter of fact, if you're a bear, this is your time to at least try to go short. I'm not saying it's going to work, but you don't want to be trying to go short on the open, or you want to be going short when price is actually pushing up into resistance, not when it's pulling back into support. And you'd be surprised, most traders actually do the opposite, right? Most people try to get long towards the top, and most people try to go short towards the bottom. Just remember, you got to have something to the upside. Trendy Edges, EMA, whatever it is that you use, that's where you want to be trying to get short. Okay? See all the levels? All right, you guys see those. Let's go to a weekly. I just showed you the daily hitting the cloud. Now, the weekly is my most favorite look for the bulls if they were to get things going. And the reason why I say that is because the divergence between price and the cloud. Let's go ahead and turn off some stuff, make it a little bit cleaner. So once again, cloud, price, we have this much room that we can move. I love that. But you gotta understand where do you want, how do you know to keep long? How do you go long? It's the same thing I just showed you. We have a plan every time we come in. They don't always work, but damn, it feels really good. It feels really good, right? To know what you're doing. Let's see, Austin. Let's go live first thing in the morning, man. Yeah, let's go. Let's get live tomorrow as well on open. So about 30 minutes before. All right, so this is the bigger picture. ES futures coming down into the lower end of the curve, and you can see that we started to go bid. Okay, and we didn't quite touch it. That's too bad. Doesn't mean that we're not going to either. Matter of fact, we're hitting the daily cloud as I speak, so that is resistance until now. Now, if this level holds, it was a if this and that. If this level holds, then we're looking for prices to move up, and I had those levels here for our members. Okay, this morning. And then we simply just kind of break this down. Same thing I just showed you. The daily hit the cloud, and then we come over to the 4 hour. The 4 hours moving above the cloud. That's a very good look, by the way. And then we go over into the 5 minute. And once again, folks, we have what's called the PMZ. We have signals that are alerting. Notice if I were to go over this with you really quick, that price came down and found a bottom. I would be looking left for a signal. Once we break out of here, we're looking to go into the trendy edge. Notice that we did do that exactly. Doesn't look like a lot, but you future traders understand that's a lot of money. And then we pull back. We get this little move right off of the PMZ. And then we get signals to start popping in, guys. And these, again, are directed to my room immediately. As soon as these pop off, and you can see you did very well. And I can tell you right now that the stop was never hit. The stop was around this area here. So not bad. Notice that we're staying above the cloud so far. Guys, it's a different look. If we start to break down below the cloud, then I think we're kind of get into a crummy part of the day. All right, where you just don't want to be doing anything. So again, making sure you're pulling those stops up, making sure you understand where targets are. I really appreciate y'all's attention. I'll be sending this out as well because you can always view it here on YouTube. Again, if you want to check us out, it's $5 for an entire 7 days. I will be here trading in the mornings. I try to not be here too long. I don't want to sit in front of the screens all day. Again, You got to do the beach trade, guys. You got to appreciate that. You got to appreciate your life. You cannot buy time, right? We can create time by having a very nice process, and that's what I want to teach you. And I also want to do it by being very transparent with you. I really appreciate you. You guys have a great day. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. Let's go ahead and hit